Military game theory is applying mathematical models to simulate and analyze strategic interactions in military scenarios, where the decisions of multiple actors interdependently affect the outcome. In very, very simple terms, military game theory uses math to help figure out what happens in army games when everyone's choices affect each other. First concept of military game theory is a zero-sum game. It's like a game where if one person gets more points, another person loses the same number of points. Everything that one person wins comes from what another person loses, so the total amount of points or things doesn't change. It just moves from one person to another. It's used to describe situations where for one person to win, someone else has to lose. In military conflicts described as zero-sum games, the situation is like a competition where only one winner can emerge. This happens because both sides want the same thing, such as a piece of territory or access to valuable resources. There isn't a way for both sides to share the prize or both get what they want without one side losing out. For example, if two countries are at war over an island rich in oil, only one can ultimately control the island's oil reserve. If one country gains control of the island, the other loses access to those resources. This makes the conflict a zero-sum game because the gain of one side directly results from the loss of the other. There are many types of zero-sum games. One type is payoff matrices. These tables show the results of different strategy combinations, helping to visualize and analyze potential outcomes of strategic interactions. Components of a payoff matrix. Players, the individuals or groups making decisions in the scenario. In military context, these could be opposing generals or countries. Strategies, the set of actions each player can take. For example, in a military conflict, strategies might include attacking, defending, retreating, or negotiating. Payoffs, the results associated with each combination of strategies. These are typically expressed as numerical values that represent the gain or loss for each player. Here, the numbers represent the outcomes for each country, depending on the actions both choose. For example, if both countries attack, they both suffer significant losses, 10 for each, reflecting the high cost of warfare. If A attacks while B defends, A gains nothing, and B incurs minor losses, 5, perhaps indicating the effectiveness of B's defenses. Conversely, if A defends while B attacks, A suffers minor losses, 5, and B gains nothing. If both defend, they might both benefit, perhaps due to stability and reduced military expenditures. One of the central concepts in game theory that involves payoff matrices is finding the Nash equilibrium. A Nash equilibrium occurs when each player's strategy is the best response to the strategies of others, meaning no player has an incentive to deviate unilaterally from their chosen strategy. The equation for Nash equilibrium involves setting up a system of inequalities or equalities that each player's strategy must satisfy, where U1 and U2 are the utility functions for player 1 and player 2 respectively, indicating the payoff for each player's strategy combination, and S and S are the strategy sets of player 1 and player 2. Z and YE are specific strategies chosen by player 1 and player 2, respectively, from their available sets of strategies in a game. Origins in war games. Long before the formal development of game theory, militaries were using war games to simulate battles and strategies. These exercises, which date back to at least the 19th century in Prussian and German military training, can be considered early practical applications of game theoretic concepts.